I like this unit. I enjoyed this unit very, very much because it managed to do one thing that I think is very, very important in this hobby. And reviewing units, sometimes you forget about it. It made me listen to music again. It made me enjoy music. It just made me forget to look for the last bit of detail. It made me forget to constantly analyze how the soundstage is placed and is there enough headroom, and all these things that many times I look for when I review any audio unit. Listening to the Aune N7, many times it was just, it was just switched off. I just listened to music. I just enjoyed music. So for this, I really liked it. I enjoyed it. The Aune N7 is a discrete and fully balanced Class A headphone amplifier. The signal stays balanced throughout the input to the output. It comes in two versions, with or without a DAC chip on board. The version I had here was with the DAC chip, because the way I used it was for desktop usage. So I plugged in my Windows 11 Desktop PC via a USB-C cable into the Aune N7, and I used it as a headphone amplifier for my desktop computer. It is a Class A headphone amplifier, and you can hear that. It has this very typical Class A sound signature. The sound of the Aune N7 feels very coherent and smooth and extremely effortless. It just presents everything in a very natural and organic way. All the instruments are real. All the instruments have this realism to them in the sound, and especially the bass. The bass is extremely controlled and just effortless. I guess it has something to do with the power this thing delivers. Let me outline this by a song by Hans Theesink, the song Slow Train. There was a fullness and a grandeur in the presentation of the song that it always made me feel like I am sitting in a big blues bar and playing live. The song had this certain rhythmic drive and transporting passion through the headphones. Yeah, it was very enjoyable for me. The overall sound signature is not the most detailed, so if you are a hunter for details and the last spark in the highs, you may be happier with another device. And mentioning the word headphones is maybe the right transition to actually talk about the headphones that I used the Aune N7 with. I used two different headphones. They're standing here next to me. One was the Sennheiser HD58X, a mass drop version. This headphone comes from the time when mass drop was still delivering to Europe. They no longer do that for whatever reasons. And the other headphone here is the Meze 99 Classic. Both of these headphones have rather different sound signatures, and I like them both. The Meze 99 Classic is, for me, a real fun headphone. It has a little bit of a V-shaped equalizer curve. The tuning is a little bit V-shaped, so you get a little bit more bass, a little bit more highs, and it presents music in a very, fun and enjoyable, passionate way. The Sennheiser HD58X is a little bit more of a darker candidate, and the frequency, the way I perceive it, is a bit more flat. It's a bit flatter compared to the Meze 99 Classic. Paired with the right headphone amplifier, the Sennheiser HD58X produces, I believe, phenomenal bass. Like, it's very beautiful. It's punchy and tight, but very voluptuous at the same time. But they need power. They're power hungry. And for this, the Aune N7 was the perfect partner. With this power delivery, my old Sennys, they came back to glory, and they made me do exactly what I mentioned in the beginning of the review. They just made me listen to music, not analyzing anything, not critically looking for the last detail, simply sitting on my office desk and listening to music and just enjoying music. I also want to compare the quality of the musical presentation with the Aune N7 and these two headphones that I have here to a hi-fi setup. Now, the Aune is 450 euros approximately. The two headphones that I have here are, the one was I think 180 euros, the other one was 350 euros. So we're talking about a system here that is way below 1,000 euros. You would never get this quality in sound with a hi-fi system with speakers spending 1,000 euros. You would have to spend a lot more to get up to this level of sound quality. But of course, it is a known conundrum. If we start comparing headphone systems to hi-fi setups, it is not really a fair comparison. Yes, you have to spend a lot more money on a hi-fi setup with speakers compared to a headphone setup to get equal or comparable sound quality. But for me, it's also another factor that I, at least in my experience, perceived to be true, and that is the point of diminishing returns. I believe headphones for which you pay 200, 300, maybe 400 euros are already at a sound quality where the point of spending 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 euros for headphones, I think that jump is not as big if I compare the jump where I pay 1,000 euros for a speaker or 10,000 euros for a speaker. So I believe the diminishing returns in headphones is reached a little bit earlier than it is actually reached with a hi-fi setup, which makes listening to a headphone system even more intriguing. You spend less, you get fantastic quality. Coming back to the sound quality of the Aune N7, let me pick it up. The staging of this headphone amplifier was, for me, at least with the two headphones that I used here, always very solid. So it never collapsed, and it never felt disconnected, it never felt disorganized. It has happened to me that when I just plug in my headphones into the desktop computer, that turning up the volume, you know, the whole staging changes and it kind of collapses even sometimes. With this one, it was pretty solid. It stayed solid even if I turn up the volume. It has a lot of power. 6.5 watts for the balanced output and 1.9 watts, if I'm not mistaken, for the single-ended output. And there's also two voltage modes. There is a high gain mode and a low gain mode. With the Aune N7, switching it to the high gain mode, the music did not lose its finesse or the dynamic properties. If I also compare it again to the FiiO K11 R2R, in my last review I outlined a power supply problem that at least I experienced with the FiiO K11 R2R. The power supply was whistling, and it was whistling to the point that I found it to be unusable in my setup. I plugged in the power supply of the Aune N7 into exactly the same plug that was also used for the FiiO device, and there was no power supply whistling or any other noise coming from the power supply with the Aune N7. And talking about power supplies, yes, I strongly believe if you would upgrade the power supply to a linear power supply, you would even enhance the musical quality of this piece. The DAC chip in this unit is a Cirrus Logic chip, and the way I used this unit was simply for my desktop PC. I was going through the Aune homepage because I thought maybe Aune has produced or are selling a dedicated DAC unit within exactly the same design, so you can stack them up and they look very good. Unfortunately, they don't do that. So the DAC unit inside of this unit with this Cirrus Logic chip, yes, it sounds good and it made me listen to music, but I strongly believed I had the hint that enhancing the DAC, you would even further enhance the quality of these headphone amps. So I tried it out with my Note DS10 streamer and DAC. I connected the Aune N7 via RCA cables to my Note DS10 Evo and listened to the same two headphones, and yes, the difference in the DAC quality was clearly audible, and the Aune N7 with a better DAC can even be elevated one level up. I want to outline the sound quality of the Aune N7 with another song. Bruce Cockburn, the song Bells of Gethsemane. I would call the genre psychedelic rock, maybe. So you have this electric guitar, and in this song there's also chimes tuning in, and particularly the decay of the sound of the chimes and the timbre of the guitar in this song, it's very trancy, psychedelic. I liked it, I enjoyed it. The device also has a remote control. It comes with a remote control. I'm not sure if that focuses now. I will try to zoom it in post. I like this remote control. I really love remote controls that are very simple, have a few buttons on it with which I can do the most important function. On the Aune N7, even though I really like the feel, it's aluminium and a beautiful design, I have to say I never used it because it's a desktop headphone amp, at least in my use case. So it was sitting there right in front of me. So changing the volume or changing the inputs, yeah, was done by hand. The unit itself, all the settings and all the menu is done by one knob. So you have to press this knob, you have to press it longer to get in the menu setting, and you can change the settings. And on the display, there's one feature that I thought was nice and interesting. It was showing the temperature. I think that's a cool feature. On the back side of the unit, you will see all the inputs that this unit has. So as mentioned, I have the unit here with a included DAC chip. So it has a USB-C input. On the left side, we see the analog input. You can either use RCA cables to connect it to a source, or XLR cables. And same with the outputs, XLR out or RCA out. The build quality of this unit, in my opinion, is very, very beautiful. It has these cooling ribs here on the side, the whole metal, it feels extremely solid and nice. So at this price point, I seriously have absolutely no complaints about the build quality. I really like this device. I really liked it because it made me do the one thing that matters most in this hobby. It made me listen to music. It made me enjoy music very, very much. So who can I recommend this headphone amplifier to? Well, if you are a person who's looking for the last detail in music and you like to pick out, every instrument and every string touch and everything, the Aune N7 may not be the best choice for you. The Aune N7's presentation, to my opinion, to my ears, it had this rhythmic drive and fullness and this passion that I want to hear in music, and that made me enjoy it very, very much. So do I believe it is worth a shot? Yes, I think so. Yes, I think this device is worth a shot. Don't forget to do the most important thing in this hobby. Enjoy music.